How's about we get you measured?
Sure. You killed my boy.
A good man whose son has just been murdered goes seeking revenge from everyone who is involved. With vengeance in his veins, he is ready to kill off anyone who is in his way, and he chases after them one by one until he gets to the criminal behind it. All would his revenge pay after all, or will cost others' life. Today we will be recapping a 2019 movie called Cold Pursuit. Nels Coxman, a snowplow operator, and his wife Grace enjoy a peaceful life in the small town of Keogh. They often have visits from their son, Kyle, who works at the airport there. Nels receives the Citizen of the Year award from the community, and his wife Grace encourages him to make a speech. On the same night, Kyle and his friend Dante are kidnapped at the airport. The kidnappers cover Kyle's face and take him to the car. They use heroin to overdose him, and Dante manages to escape from the moving van by running into the woods. In Denver, a drug dealer named Viking pressures his son Ryan to hit a bully in his school who has rubbed his face in dirt the other day. Ryan, being naturally peaceful, refuses to be violent to his bully. The kidnappers take Kyle and leave him on the street, making it look like he's just sitting. Nels and Grace are informed about Kyle's death, and they go to identify his body. The doctor tells them that he died of a heroin overdose. However, Nels, knowing Kyle was never into drugs, doubts this claim. Grace is devastated by the news and expresses her anguish, leading to an argument with Nels about them not knowing their own son. After the funeral, Nels goes home and tries to kill himself with his rifle, but Dante, who is still shaken from the incident, is inside and interrupts him. Dante reveals what happened, telling him that Kyle didn't die from an overdose. He talks about stealing only one bag of the drug. Furious upon learning the truth, Nels demands to know who was responsible for the kidnapping and confronts him more, and Dante mentions a man named Speedo. Nels finds Speedo at a local club and calls out for him. They head to an elevator, and Nels confronts him about Kyle, but Speedo denies any involvement with anyone who goes by that name and threatens him to leave. Nels attacks Speedo brutally and continues to confront him about what happened when he wakes up. After learning that Speedo was working for a man named Limbo, he kills him and dumps his body in the river. Meanwhile, Viking hears about Speedo's disappearance and tells Ryan not to discuss it while going to school. Nels goes to the wedding shop to find Limbo and tortures him for information about his boss. He learns about a man named Santa before he kills Limbo and disposes of him at the river. Back home, Grace asks if Nels knows about Kyle's interests and what they talk about during their hunting trips, to learn that he never connected with him. Viking's ex-wife comes home to take Ryan for a few days. He gives her a list of foods Ryan is allowed to eat, and she tells him she's talked to her lawyer and made arrangements for the days Ryan will stay with her. He refuses and offers her some money, but she gives it back and leaves. Viking learns that Limbo disappeared too. Nels continues to hunt down the men involved in Kyle's kidnapping. He follows the man named Santa and tries to confront him. When he refuses to speak, he kills him with his gun and runs over his car. He goes home to find a note Grace left for him. He goes to his brother Brock, a former gangster, and asks for help about why Kyle is killed. He learns that Carl was mistakenly believed to be Donnie, a thief who had tried to rob Viking. Brock tells him about Viking and what kind of person he is. Nels states that he has killed 3 of his members and that he will kill him too. Viking grows increasingly paranoid when he realizes multiple members of his gang have gone missing. He suspects the rival gang leader, White Bull, from India, is involved. His father made a deal with him before died, and now he thinks they're trying to take him down. He sends 2 of his men to the airport to bring an Indian man named Baby Hawk, who is White Bull's son, to him. One of his men beats him all night long to make him talk. The next day, Viking shows up and kills the Baby Hawk. The police find the body hanging off a road sign. Kim Dash informs her partner that she learns from forensics that he is the son of White Bull. White Bull is a Native American dealer from Denver who's been working in the business for 30 years. Brock comes to see Nels and tells him he needs to hire a professional assassin if he wants to keep the revenge going. He tells him he knows a person and leads him to contact a hitman named Eskimo. Brock tells him to buy a train ticket for Eskimo and to pick him up at the train station before he drives him to a motel, and then to pay him half the money up front and go home. Nels is curious how he would know when the job is done, but Brock is sure it will be on the news. Nels is amazed by the nicknames of the gangsters and learns that Brock's name as a gangster was Wingman. Nels drives past White Bull and his gang members, making a ritual for Baby Hawk. He goes to pick up Eskimo and takes him to a motel. He pays him half, and Eskimo pulls out a gun on him asking if he is a cop. Once he realizes he's not a cop, he takes more payment. In a twist, Eskimo goes straight to Viking instead, saying that he has information Viking would want to buy. He makes a deal with him to pay him the same as Nels did if he wants to know the name. After receiving the payment, he tells him the name is Coxman, and Viking instantly assumes that it's Brock. As Eskimo gets up to leave, Viking stops him and states that he didn't honor the first deal he made. Angered by Eskimo's betrayal, he gets his man to kill him. Nels did his research to know more about Viking. Viking, on the other hand, goes to see Brock and asks him to join him for a ride. He threatens to make his death painful, but Brock tells him he has cancer and is not afraid to die. Viking asks what he wants from him, and Brock tells him it's because of his father for stealing the woman he loved. He lies, saying that he flushed down the drugs he took from Santa. After learning that Brock is dead, Nels goes to his grave with Brock's wife. At the police station, Kim's ex-boyfriend gets her all the files she needs of White Bull and emails them to her. White Bull is angry with what happened to his son. He gathers all his members and tells them about the deal he made with Viking's father. He wasn't happy with the deal, however he honored it, but is now angry because they took his only son. He sends Baby Hawk's body home and stays with his gang members for revenge against Viking. Viking is in a bath when his ex-wife Aya comes to see him. She asks why he missed the bullying seminar, but he gives an excuse. She tells him she signed him up for a fundraiser at Ryan's school and leaves. Nell is spying on Viking's house as Ryan comes home from school and sees where he goes to school. Kim learns about the missing members of Viking's gang group. Her partner is unbothered by what she's telling him and asks what good it will do them. She tries to explain that they can take the dealers and save their town, but he just won't budge. In the meanwhile, after Viking learns that Baby Hawk is innocent, he asks his gang what they should do. One of them, named Dexter, suggests that they apologize. Viking gets angry and kills him. He orders that they cut off his head and send it to White Bull in a box to show that they have punished one of their own for killing Baby Hawk. Kim's ex-boyfriend Kurt calls her office and tells her Dante is found dead in Denver Alley. Kim goes to see Nels and asks about Dante and if he knows him. When seeing that he's no help, she leaves. One of Viking men, Sly, goes to see White Bull with a gift of Dexter's head. White Bull shoots him, saying that he needs a son for a son. His men are getting ready to capture Ryan and kidnap him. Nels beats them there and meets with Ryan. He tells him he'll be taking him home by the order of Viking since his mom is at the dentist. The two men see Nels taking Ryan, but he manages to escape. White Bull asks where the kid is, and his men tell him that he got away in a van. Ryan asks Nels who he is and the people that follow them. On the other hand, Viking is deeply disturbed about his son going missing, assuming that they should have called him. Aya, his ex-wife, shows up and yells at him for kidnapping his son on the day she was supposed to pick him up. She threatens that she will talk to her lawyer to get full custody, and he will only get 2 hours of time a month with him. He lunges at her to punch her, but he misses, and she kicks him as he tells her Ryan's not home. White Bull's men pull up at a motel where one of Viking men, Bone, is staying in, and they shoot him dead. Aya is worried, but Viking calmly tells her that Ryan will be home soon. She threatens she will call the police if he's not home in 24 hours. Nels takes Ryan home, and he keeps asking him questions to know if he has kids. He makes him eggs and plays him some classical music. He takes him to Kyle's room to stay the night and tells him that his son has gone away. Ryan insists that he read him a bedtime story, so he read to him about a snowblower. He then sleeps with Ryan in his arms. White Bull goes around checking shops. As he goes back to his hotel, he is joined by his members. He asks if they find Ryan, but they tell him they didn't. The janitor from Ryan's school comes to give some information to Viking. He tells him that he's seen the van before, and that Coxman is the owner of it. Viking gets him killed after getting the useful information. White Bull and his groups are out in the snow enjoying themselves. Nels calls Viking and tells him he has his son. He gives him his location, and Viking lies that he's just leaving Denver and will arrive in 3 hours while he is actually in Coho. Nels takes Ryan for a drive on his snowblower. As they are driving, they run into the cops, and he tells them that Ryan is his nephew. The cop tells him there are many cars at his house, and Nels rushes to leave. At his house, Viking and his men are going through his things. They find Ryan's bag and a picture that has a place's name. Viking gets his men and rushes there. A man named Mustang is working with White Bull and informs them where they are heading. Nels gets comfortable with his rifle from the top of a hill waiting for their arrival. He sees Ryan out of the garage and goes back to take him in. He hides under a car aiming at Viking, but one guy comes behind him and takes him to them. As they are about to kill him, White Bull shows up in a car, and his men start shooting at Viking and his members. Many die from both sides, and Nels uses his snowblower car to attack Viking, but he misses. White Bull leaves the bulletproof car he was in and starts to shoot at Viking. Viking tries to escape by getting into another random car after taking a gun. Nell drives to a tree and cuts it off with his truck to use it to nail Viking to the ground in his car. Viking gives up, and in that moment White Bull shoots him. Nels gets back in his truck and drives off, but is joined by White Bull, who is aiming a gun at him. The police arrive at the murder scene, and Kim finds Ryan driving the snowblower. Her partner goes to check on Viking, who is on the verge of passing out. He starts to tell him a message for Aya, but gets cut off and takes his last breath. Nell goes to clear out the road that's blocked by the snow. White Bull is impressed and puts his gun on the windshield. White Bull wakes up from a sleep to find out it's morning and that he's next to Nels. They drive quietly and soon spot one of White Bull's men in a parachute. He accidentally gets into the snowblower and dies. And with that, the movie ends. We hope you enjoyed our video. Watch the next recaps on the screen and don't forget to subscribe for more amazing recaps. See you in the next one.